to our Sunday night story time. I'm Harry.
And I'm Grace, and tonight we're going to be reading a special story for Remembrance Sunday.
What is Remembrance Day? Remembrance Day is a special day in November. Remembrance Day means remembering. On Remembrance Day, we remember people who have suffered and died in wars. Later in this book, you will find out why poppies show remembrance for people who died in wars. One way to find out about people who died in wars is to visit a memorial like this. The names are men who went to fight for Britain in the World Wars. They died in the fighting. What do you notice about these names?
Think about the families to help you understand when the two world wars happened. Are there old photographs of your parents, grandparents, and even great-grandparents? Was someone in your Find out if that person's parents grew up in the First World War, like this little boy. His father went away to fight in the war. The First World War began in 1914. Millions of men joined the army, which went to fight in the war. What do you think it was like for them? Nurses went to the battlefield to care for soldiers who were injured. Many soldiers and nurses were killed in the war. Many buildings were destroyed in the fighting.
The end of the war. The First World War was between countries all over the world. It was called the Great War because it was so big. After 4 years, the leaders of the countries agreed to stop the fighting. Here they are after they signed the ceasefire agreement. The ceasefire agreement was at 11 o'clock in the morning. On the 11th of November 1918, count on form the first month of the year, which number month is November. Later on, people held street parties to celebrate the end of the war. Ways to remember. After the war, people wanted to do something special to remember all the men who had died. War memorials were built like the one on page 6. The War Memorial in London is called the Cenotaph. Say Cenotaph. 11th of November was called Armistice Day. People began to hold ceremonies of remembrance on this day. On Armistice Day, many people stood silent for 2 minutes to remember. Why do you think the silence started at 11 o'clock?
Great question, Harry. I think it's because it was on the 11th day of the 11th month on the 11th hour. Why poppies? Soldiers who have been in a war are called veterans. After the First World War, some veterans made paper poppies for Armistice Day. These veterans made poppy wreaths. The poppies were sold and the money was used to help veterans. The paper poppies were like real poppies that grew in the battlefields of the First World War. Real poppies are beautiful, bright red, but soon they die. Why do you think poppies are a good symbol of soldiers who died in the battlefields? More wars. People hoped that war would never happen again, but then there was a Second World War. Many smaller wars are still happening today. In the Second World War, planes dropped bombs on towns and cities. After the Second World War, more names were added to war memorials. People hold a ceremony of Remembrance Day every November. Now the ceremonies are on second Sunday in November. This is called Remembrance Day. Veterans still make and sell poppies for Remembrance Day. The poppies help us to remember people who died in the world wars and in the other wars. Thank you for donating water bottles. We have used them to make this wonderful puppy tree.
If you didn't know, the colours represent something different. White means people that have died in conflict. Red means soldiers that have died. Purple means animals that have died. And black means black African people and Caribbean people that have died.
Thank you for coming to our story time.
Bye.